She takes her opportunity. Alexandra Eala, she reeled off the opening set in double quick time. Fair play, Magdalena Frech. She came back, took that second set 6-3.
Every unforgettable sports journey reaches a point where the story behind the spotlight finally reveals itself, where all the whispers, the hype, and the growing attention suddenly connect into something undeniable. And for Alexandra Eala, that defining moment unfolded on a Tuesday afternoon in Rome, on one of tennis's most legendary stages, surrounded by 18 towering marble statues that have silently witnessed generations of champions rise and fall for almost a century. But to truly understand what happened there, long before the clay, the pressure, and the emotion of Rome entered the picture, you have to go back to a young boy from a humble town in Spain. A player who spent endless hours smashing tennis balls against a wall under the unforgiving Mediterranean sun, enduring criticism from people who insisted his unconventional style would never survive at the elite level, only for that same player to rewrite the sport's history books by capturing the French Open an astonishing 14 times and transforming a tiny island into the most respected tennis training ground in the world. And somewhere during the quiet transition into retirement, when he finally decided to pick up a racket again after months away from the game, the person he chose to share the court with was not a veteran champion or a global superstar, but a 20-year-old girl from Quezon City named Eala, and the connection between them, a relationship quietly shaped over 8 years on the red clay courts of Mallorca, suddenly burst into public view in Rome in a way the tennis world is still struggling to fully comprehend, which is why this story deserves to be told slowly and properly, because every detail matters. The Italian Open is not simply another stop on the tennis calendar. The Foro Italico in Rome feels more like sacred ground, a monument to the sport itself. And the Pietrangeli court where Alex stepped onto the clay for her opening match carries an atmosphere soaked in history, every inch echoing with memories of legends like Borg, Connors, Federer, and, of course, Rafael Nadal. The same icon who conquered this tournament 9 different times, because when a player walks onto that court, they are stepping into something far greater than a match, something built from nearly 100 years of unforgettable moments, while the marble statues surrounding the arena do not merely decorate the venue, they stand like silent guardians of tennis history, observing every new chapter written before them. Alex entered that arena as a 20-year-old ranked number 42 in the world, carrying the weight of one of the most difficult stretches of her young career after suffering 3 straight defeats during the clay season across tournaments in Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid. And in Madrid the setback felt especially brutal after Mira Andreeva handed her a crushing 6-0 bagel, a result that could have shattered the confidence of many young players. Yet somehow all of that disappointment, pressure, and doubt became part of the story that would soon unfold in Rome. There were no explanations left, no quick fixes, no easy solutions, only the kind of crushing result that generates the worst possible headlines and lingers around a player like a shadow for weeks afterward. And as Alexandra Eala arrived in Rome, the conversation surrounding her European clay season had become increasingly unforgiving, with critics beginning to highlight troubling patterns in her performances, journalists openly questioning whether her game could truly adapt to the surface, and fellow players on tour quietly analyzing every weakness the way elite chess players dissect openings, all waiting to see if Alex would rise to the occasion in Italy or collapse beneath the mounting pressure and expectations surrounding her. Standing across from her in the opening round was Poland's Magdalena Frech, a 28-year-old former top 20 player whose career best ranking of world number 22 had come only 2 years earlier. An experienced competitor who had already claimed impressive victories over elite names like Emma Navarro and Mira Andreeva during different stages of her career, making it immediately clear that this was anything but an easy draw. Frech was the type of seasoned player who does not unravel under pressure, someone hardened by years of difficult battles who understands exactly how to survive tense moments. And she herself entered Rome desperate to reverse momentum after suffering 4 consecutive first-round exits, meaning both women stepped onto the court with something significant to prove. On paper, Everything about the matchup suggested another potentially painful afternoon for Alex, but the instant the first set began, the entire script changed. Frech never found her rhythm for even a moment as Alex immediately seized control, breaking serve early before holding comfortably with complete confidence, then breaking again, holding again, and securing a third break with relentless precision before calmly serving out the set in a performance that felt less like a tennis match and more like a declaration. 6 games to love. A bagel. In just 35 minutes, Alex delivered a ruthless and methodical display of clay court tennis so dominant it barely resembled the uncertain player who had looked completely lost on this same surface only 3 weeks earlier. The crowd inside Pietrangeli Court, a venue that has witnessed decades of unforgettable tennis, watched in almost stunned silence as a former top 20 veteran was dismantled without managing to claim a single game. And for those who had been carefully following Alex's growth over the last 2 years, that opening set felt like more than just a strong start. It felt like a warning that something had shifted inside her game. But then the second set arrived, and suddenly the story became far more complicated again, because that is the unforgiving nature of European clay courts and the exact reason experienced veterans continue to survive at the highest level. And Magdalena Frech responded exactly the way seasoned professionals do after humiliation. She returned to her chair following the first set and began making adjustments. Frech came out for the second set with a completely different approach, attacking Eala's second serve with far more aggression, adjusting her return position, and competing with the desperate precision of a veteran who understands that every single point can impact a career, a ranking, and a season. And slowly the momentum began to shift as the set tilted in her favor until she eventually claimed it 6-3, leveling the match at 1 set apiece and forcing everyone watching to confront the same question in real time. Coaches across the WTA Tour were checking the live score on their phones, commentators were pulling up old match statistics, and tennis analysts were revisiting painful memories because this was not the first time Alex had found herself in control only to watch the match slip away. She had previously blown a commanding 5-1 lead in Linz against Ostapenko, and there had been other moments where she looked poised to close matches before pressure pulled her backward, so the issue was never whether she possessed the talent to compete at this level. The real uncertainty centered on whether she had developed the mental resilience necessary to survive the exact moment when momentum turns, when confidence shakes, and when raw ability is no longer enough to carry a player through. The third set answered that question emphatically, and the answer was clear: Alex no longer breaks under pressure. Not after Mallorca. Not after the difficult week following Madrid, when she returned to the Rafael Nadal Academy and spent days working alongside the same coaching minds who helped shape the greatest clay court player the sport has ever seen. When she stepped back onto Pietrangeli Court for the deciding set, there was no panic in her body language, no emotional collapse. Only the calm focus of an athlete completely connected to her preparation and fully trusting the work she had put in behind the scenes. She earned an early break, protected her own serve, and steadily built her advantage point by point as the scoreboard moved through 2-0, 3-2, and 4-3. While Frech continued fighting relentlessly because experienced clay court players never disappear quietly, and because the surface itself demands constant suffering from both competitors. Breakpoints came and went for each player, both women surviving moments that could have completely changed the outcome, and with every game the tension inside the stadium intensified until Alex stood at 5-4 preparing to serve for the match. Carrying the full weight of her recent struggles, the painful Madrid memory, the criticism surrounding her clay season, and months of unanswered questions all compressed into one final service game on one of the most iconic courts in Italian tennis. And this time, she did not hesitate. She held serve, closed out the match 6-3 in the third set, shook hands at the net, and ended a clay court losing streak that had stretched across 4 tournaments and 12 difficult weeks. Then came the statistic that should force every coaching staff in professional tennis to pay close attention, because Alex won an astonishing 68% of points behind her second serve during that match. a number even higher than her own first serve conversion rate of 56% and stronger than Frech's first serve numbers as well. This was the exact same second serve that had completely fallen apart in Linz, the same shot that produced a shocking 0% win rate against Ostapenko on outdoor clay just weeks earlier. Yet in Rome it became one of the strongest foundations of her entire performance on Pietrangeli court, and statistics like that do not appear randomly. They are the direct result of deliberate work, specifically the intense week Alex spent back in Mallorca between Madrid and Rome when the Academy's coaching staff carefully analyzed the technical breakdowns in her mechanics after the Andreeva loss, developed targeted corrections, and drilled those adjustments into repetition and muscle memory through 7 straight days of focused, high-intensity training. The numbers from the match reflected complete control rather than luck. Alex converted 6 of her 12 break-point opportunities, while Frech managed only 3 out of 9, and nearly every meaningful clay court category leaned in Alex's favor, including a total points advantage of 157 and stronger receiving numbers, confirming that this was not a narrow escape decided by fortunate moments, but a commanding performance from a player who had accepted criticism, absorbed coaching corrections, and arrived in Rome fully prepared to execute at the highest level. And that is exactly where the story begins to evolve beyond tennis itself, because the connection to Rafael Nadal transforms everything into something far deeper. Alex first entered the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca back in 2018, when she was only 12 years old after winning the prestigious Petit as junior tournament in France, one of the most respected under-14 events in European tennis. And shortly afterward the Academy reached out to her family with a scholarship opportunity. Her parents then faced the difficult decision that almost every family chasing greatness in sports eventually confronts, whether to send their child far away from home in pursuit of a dream most people would consider impossible. And ultimately Alex and her brother Michael traveled together to Spain, where she began living and training full-time at the academy that would ultimately shape the next stage of her career. Every single day in Mallorca, Alex Eala stepped onto those red clay courts and immersed herself in the same philosophy that Tony Nadal, Rafael Nadal's uncle and the architect behind the greatest clay court dynasty the sport has ever witnessed, spent decades perfecting through discipline, endurance, and relentless mental toughness. Each morning she woke up surrounded by the exact environment that molded a young left-handed boy from a modest Spanish town into a 14-time Roland Garros champion, training on the same surfaces, learning from the same coaching minds, and absorbing the same competitive culture that has become synonymous with excellence in professional tennis. By the time she graduated from the Academy's academic program in 2023 and continued working there as a professional player, Mallorca had become far more than a training destination for her. The clay was part of her identity. The Academy had become her second home, and the lessons she learned there shaped not only her technical game, but her entire understanding of what elite tennis demands emotionally, mentally, and physically from those who dare to pursue greatness. And what makes her connection with Rafael Nadal so remarkable is that it extends far beyond symbolism, publicity, or academy branding, because their relationship carries a deeply personal layer that is incredibly rare in professional sports mentorships. When Alex made history during the 2025 Miami Open by becoming the first Filipino player ever to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal at only 19 years old, defeating major names like Ostapenko, Keys, and Svitolina along the way, Nadal publicly celebrated her achievement himself, expressing how proud they were of her, calling her tournament incredible, encouraging her to continue dreaming after her breakthrough WTA-level success, and openly acknowledging not only her progress as a player but also the significance of what she represented for the Philippines. After nearly every important milestone in her career, Nadal has consistently responded with public support and recognition, and that pattern no longer feels accidental. It reflects the behavior of a mentor deeply invested in the growth of a student he genuinely believes in. Then came November 2025, exactly 1 year after Nadal's retirement, when he finally returned to a practice court at his academy for the first time in months, and the player he chose to share that emotional moment with was Eala. Out of everyone in the world of tennis, the 22-time Grand Slam champion selected his young Filipino student to stand beside him the moment he felt ready to hold a racket again, turning what could have been an ordinary practice session into something profoundly meaningful. Alex later described the experience with unmistakable reverence, explaining that moments like that are the kind young players only dream about. Sharing how Nadal offered her small but valuable technical advice on her forehand and how she absorbed every word with complete attention because she understood the magnitude of what she was receiving, adding that the memory would stay with her forever. That was never just a casual hit between a legend and a promising academy player. It felt like a master consciously passing down knowledge to someone he believes can carry a part of that legacy into the future long after his own playing days have ended. Even people closest to Nadal have spoken about Alex with sincere admiration. Maribel Nadal, Rafael's sister and an important figure within the academy, praised Alex warmly, calling her an inspiration to young boys and girls in the Philippines, describing her as an incredible and humble person, and saying it was beautiful to witness